Hello, I am teacher Dan again, and I will be your science teacher for today. So I believe that you are all ready and excited to learn new things today. So let's go. So let's start first with our content standard. Weathering and soil erosion shape the Earth's surface and affects living things and the environment. For our performance standard, participate in projects that reduce soil erosion in the community. And I also prepared some objectives to target in this lesson. First, we have to define weathering. And then the second is identify the different factors of weathering. And of course, we have to describe how rocks turn into soil. So the topic that we are going to talk about is about weathering. Okay, so to start with, let's have a quick drill first, and you just have to choose the letter of the correct answer. And I'll be giving you at least 10 seconds in every items. All right? So let's start. Number one, it is the breaking down of rocks into smaller pieces. So I'll be giving you 10 seconds to answer. Okay, so let's move to the next number. Number two, a type of weathering that involves change in the composition of rocks that allows them to break down into pieces. All right, so let's move to the next number. Number three. What do you call the process by which humans extract stones or rocks from a quarry by digging or blasting? All right, so next, number four. What will happen to a rock when it is exposed to high temperature? And lastly, which of these factors can bring about mechanical weathering? Time's up. So let's see if you got all the correct answer. Okay, honesty is the best policy. Always remember that. All the questions that we had on our drill will be discussed on the next slides of this lesson. So let's see. There is the answers. So if you got all the correct answers, give yourself a round of applause. Okay, very good. For our lesson, we'll have our integration in Araling Palipunan. Of course, pwede natin itong ihambing o naihahambing ang pagbabago ng panahon at klima na may kaugnayan sa pagkadurog ng mga bato. So, have you ever visited or seen in pictures the rock formation in Minalungaw National Park in Nueva Ecija? If yes, well then, what can you say about it? Some may say like it's very beautiful, amazing, and stunning. That is because of there are lots of rock formations there. Some may ask how did it happen, something like that. But if you haven't seen that picture or the national park Minalungaw in Nueva Ecija, then I'll show it to you. There. That is the official photo of Minalungaw National Park. Isn't it very stunning and beautiful, amazing like that? So I hope I could be there someday, and as well as you. So rocks are hard, compact, and solid. They continuously break into small pieces This process is called weathering. Weathering is something like about, breaking down of those rocks into smaller pieces or finer particles. Okay, that is what we call the weathering. So, before we go further with our lesson, allow me to give you some reminders. Okay, so the first one, you have to prepare your pen and paper ready. And then you just have to be attentive and participate on the activities, not only just for the starting of the lesson, but during as well as the end and so on and so forth. You just have to be attentive and participate, okay? So number three, this is most important, of course. You have to focus, learn, and enjoy the lesson. So let's start. For the integration, the ESP or yung edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, pagpapahalaga sa likas na kagandahan ng ating yamang likas na may kaugnayan sa mga bato. So it is hard to believe that or but the tiny grains of sand you see at the beach were once part of giant boulders. So ibig sabihin yung soil na nakikita natin even in other places came from rocks or giant boulders. So over many years, no, these huge rocks were broken down into smaller pieces in a process. So different factors act constantly, making rocks break and turn into soil. So sabi dito, over many years. So it's going to be a long period of process before certain rocks will break down into smaller pieces down to tiny particles. Okay? So in weathering, the rock may just crumble down into smaller pieces or it may produce some other new substances. So the breaking of rocks results in the formation of soil and different landforms. That is why we have amazing rock formation in the Philippines. And it is, yes, true. It's true that we have so many amazing places that shows rock formation here in the Philippines. There are so many tourist spots that other races are appreciating the beauty of God's creation. So you must be aware of those places someday or somehow. Okay, so we have to identify the location of the following pictures that show rock formation. Let's try. If you were able to visit some places or in the future, let's try to guess. All right, so I'll be giving you at least 10 seconds to answer or to guess. Where is this rock formation be found? Oops, let's see. That is in Ilocos Norte. Next picture, there it is. Saan kaya ito mataas na batong ito? So let's see. Nagpatong Rock, Tanay, Rizal. Next picture. I believe that you were able to answer this one. That is the underground river Puerto Princesa, Palawan. So if you got all the correct answer, again, give yourself 3 claps. 1, 2, 3. Great job. So there are two main types of weathering, the mechanical or the physical weathering and the chemical weathering. Remember, mechanical or physical are just one, okay? Chemical weathering is different types of weathering. So let's start with the mechanical weathering. It's the breakdown of rock where no chemical change takes place and no new substances are produced. It is also called physical weathering, as I mentioned a while back. So the rocks may change their size, but they are still the same kind of rock. It can be caused by any of the following factors. So basically, when we are talking about mechanical weathering, it will only just change the physical attributes of the rocks. There is no other composition or change in composition. Only the shape or the size will be changed. So what are the agents of weathering? The first one is the temperature. Surface rock is heated by the sun. During the day, the rock expands, and at night, the rock cools and contracts. This unequal expansion of contraction causes the rock to crack and break apart. So basically, the temperature is one of the agents of the rock weathering. That is because when it's heat or hot, okay, the rock expands. When it's cold, the rock contracts. So parang tayo, pag mainit, we feel like we do not want with somebody beside us, or sometimes since it's summer, we tend to wear sandals or anything that is comfortable na suotin. So kapag naman malamig, we feel like we are wearing jackets, something like that to protect us from cold. So the second is water. Can break rocks in different ways. The strong waves that hit the rocks can make them break. It can seep into the cracks of the rocks. When it gets colder, water turns into ice and expands that can trigger rocks to break as well. So, ibig sabihin, yung nakikita natin dito sa GIF or photo that is moving, yung water is one of the greatest reason also or factor or agent. That's why weathering is possible. Sometimes, 'di ba, yung mga bato may mga cracks na 'yan. So napapasukan sila ng tubig, and that water can bring, damage to the rock, and it can cause weathering, or it can break down into smaller pieces, no, over a long period of time. So next, wind. As the wind blows, it carries sand or small rocks particles that scratch the rock's surface. That's valid. This can bring about mechanical weathering, which can also result to different rock formations. Okay? So, yung wind, yes, nakakapagdala yan ng mga small particles like yung maliliit, no? Pagka na-reach niya yung surface ng rock, pwede mag-scratch, and that can cause weathering to the rocks. Okay? Another agent of weathering is plants. So roots may grow between the cracks of rocks. That's true. And as the roots grow, the cracks become deep and wide, causing the rock to break into pieces. As you can see on our photo or moving photo, yes, kung nakakita na kayo ng mga plants, no, na tumutubo sa gitna ng mga cracks ng mga rocks, that can cause weathering. No? So that's why plants is one of the agents of weathering. And if you were able to observe in your house or in your school or wherever you are, sometimes the roots, whenever it's getting bigger, no, yung mga bato na nasa paligid niya nababasag. So that would be the best explanation why plants is considered as one of the agents of the weathering. Animals that lives underground also contribute to weathering, as burrowing animals such as rabbits, moles, and badgers dig deeper. They cause rocks to break into pieces too. So may mga animals kasi na nagdidig. So that can cause weathering as well. And it may cause some smaller cracks, no? And then dagdagan pa ng hangin yan, ng ulan, so nagkakatubig. So animals can also be an agent of weathering. All right. So for the next one is, of course, humans also cause breaking of rocks. Some construction workers use jackhammers to break boulders or rock as they build houses and repair roads. So they extract stones or rocks from a quarry. So as you can see, 'di ba, yung mga construction workers natin, they are actually building houses, something like that. So that can cause weathering. That can cause some cracks to our rocks. All right. That's why human is one of the major agents of weathering. To further discuss about the types of agents ng weathering natin, I'll be showing you a video clip. So you just have to um, pay attention on the video, take note of some important details to add more knowledge and understanding regarding weathering or agents of weathering. Okay?
Weathering.
This rock is smaller, but it looks like the same type of rock as this mountain.
Weathering happens over time. It's a process. Weathering can break large rocks into small rocks. Weathering breaks smaller rocks down further into soil, sand, or even tiny particles called sediment. But what causes weathering? Water, ice, wind, plants, heating and cooling. All of these things affect the earth and play a part in breaking rocks down into smaller pieces. They are the causes or agents of weathering. Water. Some of these agents can cause change physically. That is, just by the force of contacting the rock. Water, in all its forms, is the most powerful agent. The physical force of water and ice can break rocks and wear away their surfaces. When water freezes in cracks in rocks, it expands. It gets bigger. The force of expanding water is so great it can actually split rock apart. You might have discovered this yourself if you've ever frozen a water bottle to take to school. That bottle is full of water, all the way to the top. It's standing nicely in the freezer. You think, I can put it on my desk tomorrow and let it melt. I'll have cold water all day long. The next morning, though, what's happened? The bottle won't stand up. The frozen water has gotten bigger. It has expanded and pushed out the bottom of the bottle. It's no longer flat. The freezing action of water can expand the cracks in rocks and break them up. The flowing action of water can weather rock too. It slowly wears the surface of rocks away. This stream bottom has been worn smooth. And when water flows over rocks, it not only causes a physical change, it can cause a change inside the rock to the different materials that make up the rock. This is called a chemical change. Let's see what water with a little vinegar, a weak acid from plants, can do to this soft rock called soapstone. After just a few minutes, you can begin to see particles in the water. Let's wait just a little longer. Now look, parts of this soft rock have dissolved. Why did some of the rock wash away here and some of it stay there? Water caused a chemical change. It was able to dissolve some of the material in the rock, while other parts did not dissolve. We saw how water can get into cracks in rocks, freeze, expand, and break rocks down. The same thing can happen with plants. Plants. Plants can grow in cracks in rocks. As the plant grows, the roots of the plant grow too, making the crack bigger and bigger until wind. This landform in Utah may have been smooth at one time. Desert winds carrying sand have weathered this surface. These workmen are getting ready to paint this truck. They're using this machine that blows air and sand to blast away the old paint. It's called a sandblaster. Look what sand and wind can do to a soft surface like wood in just a few minutes. Just like that sandblaster, over time, wind can weather away the surface of landforms, changing the way they look. Temperature. The wind isn't blowing on this rock in the sun, but this rock is still weathering. It's getting warmer now, and some of the materials in the rock are expanding quickly with the heat. Other materials in the same rock are expanding slowly. When the sun goes down, they'll contract or get smaller at different speeds too. This expansion and contraction is all smaller than we can see with our own eyes, but over time, it is enough to slowly break the rock down. So temperature changes can also cause weathering.
But after weathering breaks up rock, what happens to it?
All right, so that's gonna be all for the video clip regarding the agents of weathering. And as you can see, some of the video details, nabanggit na dun yung mechanical. So I hope that video helped a lot more with regards about weathering. So let's move to the chemical weathering. So it's the breakdown of rocks by changing its chemical composition. Okay, take note of that. Changing chemical composition. It results to both physical and chemical changes. It gives iron-rich rocks a rusty colored surface which weakens the rock. So in this case, it's not only mechanical but also chemical change happens. So some part of the rocks composed of different materials or minerals that can be dissolved using the agents of the chemical change. No? Let's further discuss about that. Also, when carbon dioxide in air combines with water, they form carbonic acid. Okay, so this acid attacks and dissolves minerals. Water, acid, oxygen are the basic agents of these kinds of weathering. So it means when it comes to the chemical change, no, the basic agents of the weathering, of chemical weathering, is that the water. The acid and oxygen, whenever they are being combined to each others, it can dissolve the materials that is present to a specific rock. Okay? Nadi-dissolve yung rock itself. Nadudurog sila. That is because some of the materials were being torn apart because of this acid combined with the oxygen, with the carbon dioxide, and water. So, water in nature is rarely pure. No? However, air and water pollution can make the water acidic. So, these smaller pieces of rocks that are formed because of the different types of weathering are called sediments. No? In time, these sediments are further broken down into finer particles called the soil. So, when it comes to sediments, ito yung mga smaller particles na ng mga rocks na nadurog, no? And as times goes by, those finer particles become the soil, which is yun yung nakikita natin today. Okay? So, I'll be showing you another video clip pertaining to the chemical change.
Welcome to this Palms demonstration video about chemical weathering. We are going to look at how acid rain affects rocks like limestone and marble. For this experiment, you need 2 pieces of limestone. If you don't have limestone, little pieces of cement can be used, as they are partly made from limestone. You need 2 clear cups or jars, white vinegar, which is an acid, water, and a marking pen. Label the cups V for vinegar and W for water. We've sped things up to make the experiment go more quickly. Place the rocks in the cups and then add water to the W cup and vinegar to the V cup. The cup with water is our control. This allows us to see if acid affects rock differently than water does. Observe the rocks in each cup. What do you notice? This limestone has clay in it, which gives it a yellow-brown color. There are also bits of fossil bone that are white. When acid reacts with limestone, it releases carbon dioxide gas. Can you see signs of this chemical reaction? Leave the experiment overnight and check on it the next day. What do you observe about the color of the water and vinegar? When we pour out the liquid and look at the rocks, what do you notice? The rock that has been in vinegar is now weak and easy to break. I get clay on my hands because the limestone has been dissolved by the acid, leaving clay behind. The rock that was in water is still strong and does not leave clay on my hands. What causes acid rain? When we burn fossil fuels, they release gases like carbon dioxide that reacts with water to form carbonic acid, sulfur dioxide that forms sulfuric acid, and nitrous oxide that forms nitric acid. All of these acids can cause limestone and marble to dissolve. Thanks for watching this Palms video. For more fun, hands-on science activities, visit the Palms website at palms.edu.au.
All right, so I think that you were able to know and clarify about the chemical weathering. So basically, there is a change of composition on that part. So now you have identified the factors affecting rocks weathering. I believe that you are all ready to have a short activity regarding the 2 types of weathering. So let's try. You just have to match the description in column A with the terms in column B. Write only the letter of the correct answer. But basically, not to waste our time with this, you can pause the video once you are done, once you are doing or answering the activity. Okay? So let's start. There it is. It's 1 to 10. You can pause the video now, and then right after that, you can continue with the video to check the answers. So I think at this very time, we have to move on to the checking part. Okay? All right. So let's check if you got all the correct answer with the activity. I hope that you were able to pass it. So these are the answers. You can pause the video while you are checking. Again, honesty is the best policy. All right. So let's move. For the integration, we have English also again, analyzing details through contrast, similarities, and comparison. There it is. We have to differentiate as well as compare as well the similarity of the mechanical weathering and the chemical weathering. So the basic details is that under mechanical weathering, it only brings about physical change. Only the shape and the size can be changed. Okay? So it is the breaking down of rocks caused by different factors such as the agents of weathering that we have discussed. No, yung temperature, the water, winds, plants, animals, and humans. And there is no chemical change takes place under mechanical change. What about for the chemical weathering? It breaks down rocks by changing their chemical composition. No, some parts of the rocks can be dissolved because of the factors like nung water or water with acids, no, carbon dioxide and oxygen. And it is breaking down of rocks when oxygen attacks the iron in rocks. Okay, so it is breaking down of rocks when carbon dioxide and water form carbonic acid that dissolves rocks. So ano ba yung pagkakapareho ng dalawa ng mechanical and chemical weathering? So of course, types of weathering, no? Breaking down of rocks change the Earth's surface. Those are the similarities between the two, mechanical and chemical weathering. So for the developing mastery, we just have to complete the diagram by identifying the different factors involved in weathering. Once again, you can pause the video while you are doing the activity. There it is. You just have to name them, label them. Okay, so you can pause the video and then answer. Then right after that, we'll have to check. So let's see if you got all the correct answer. All right, so I believe that you got all the correct answer because I know that you are already know the factors affecting weathering. For the practical application, no, rocks play vital role in our daily lives. Yes, of course. It gives us both human and animals to live on. Minerals and other resources can be found in rocks. So we as human, now capable of thinking, shall take care and be responsible in using them wisely. And for the generalization, I'll be giving you at least 30 seconds to think of. You can recite it on your end, and then we'll see if we have the same answer, or at least a similar thought. Okay? For the first question, what is weathering? The second one, what is the difference between mechanical and chemical weathering? Only the basic details that you have learned from this lesson. So let's check. I'll give you 30 seconds. Alright, time's up. So let's see if we have the same answer. Weathering is the process of breaking down the rocks into smaller pieces over a long period of time. Do we have the same answer or same thought? If yes, then you did a great job. For the differences between the two, like what we have discussed a while back, it's just the same with the mechanical and the chemical weathering discussion. So if you were able to differentiate by which of these following details, well then you really understand the difference between mechanical and chemical weathering. So having knowledge and awareness to the lesson we discussed will give us more appreciation of God's creation. And for our evaluation, we have test 1 and test 2. You just have to choose the letter of the correct answer. And of course, as I've said, you can pause the video while you are doing the activity. copy or read the questions. So let's start. For test 1, we have 1 to 5. So you just need to pick and choose the best or the correct answer. Okay, so you can pause the video if you want to, if you need much time. So for the test 2, let's move on. There it is. You have to complete the paragraph by filling in the blanks with the appropriate text or terms found inside the box below. So you can pause again the video if you need more time to finish the evaluation. All right. So once you're done, you just need to picture the photo or picture the results of your activities or the evaluation. And then like what we did before, you just have to send the results with your names, no, just a photo sa messenger ko. All right. And I'll be checking that online. So for your assignment, same thing. You just have to answer your assignment now using your pen and paper, write it down, take a picture of it, and then send it to my messenger. So answer the question. Write at least 3 to 5 sentences on the topic that we have. How does weathering make rocks turn into soil? So you can pause the video if you need more time for that. All right, so shall we move on now? Okay. And that's gonna be all. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have learned a lot with this lesson. And again, I am Teacher Dan, your science teacher. Bye for now.